probably really suck at tech interviews, but you don't have to. Today I'm going to give you 10 tips that'll help you ace this interview. I'll put that on the game. Hey VFC fam, it's your boy Joshua Tech Dev Walker, your venti fried chicken author. You see this bad boy? And more importantly, you're a senior solutions architect cloud slinger. In the process of being in the tech industry as like a senior technical lead for almost 10 years, I have interviewed a lot of people. And me personally, I used to really suck at interviews myself when it comes to tech interviews. Because most of you are brilliant as hell, but you suck at talking to people. Tip number one is just knowing the basics of whatever you're interviewing for. This may sound really basic and maybe a little bit dumb, but I'll give you a real world example of this. I'll be asking someone like, what do you know about the different cloud models? And then they'll just jump right into like Amazon Lambda. As a solution architect, everyone wants to do the cool and flashy stuff. I get it, even myself. But if a tech interview is tryouts, then I expect you to know how to pass and do basic stuff and layups before I want you to do a through the legs dunk. So make sure you have those basics down packed, because then it helps you build, that momentum even during the interview. Number two is really focus on your hands-on experience. And after talking to other senior solution architects across the board and enterprise and just in general, we're more interested in what you have actually done, which is why I sound like a broken record all the time and telling everyone to work on their portfolios, because I think it's the most important piece. Even if someone came from like a prestigious Target University, if you're someone that has built these things for real, then I'd rather have you on my team than them. That Harvard degree is not going to help you when an outage happens. Tip number three is to really always show that you know security best practice. It's all fun and flashy until someone gets breached. Security is everybody's responsibility, so showing that you know how to securely set up these services is super important. Most of the cloud providers have really great free tiers, so just try it out. And then once again, you can actually say you actually did it, even if it's for your own personal project. Tip number four is to really show them that you care about cost optimization. I don't know if anyone told you, but this stuff isn't free. Of course, I'm not contradicting myself. We just talked about free tier, but that's usually for like proof of concepts or for just to try a service out. But in the real big bad world, this stuff is expensive, and most engineers aren't cost conscious. So this could give you a real competitive edge because you're showing that you want to save the business money. As a solution architect, most of my value is being able to build the biggest, best, more robust thing that is the least amount of money. So not cutting corners, but being cost conscious at all times. There's no takebacks on the AWS bill. And a lot of times when it comes to having years of experience at that place, one of the easy ways to ask for a raise is say like, hey, did you realize I've been saving you X amount of money per year? So make sure to have that at top of mind when you're getting ready for these interviews. Tip number five is really showing your problem solving skills. And I know that makes me a little nauseated itself, but really what it's saying is they want to see how you think. So don't just verbal diarrhea the services. Talk about like why you chose that service, and maybe even some problems that you encounter setting up the service, because that's real life. I love seeing people that can overcome adversity because, this is a pretty hard job. It's an amazing, rewarding job, but if it was easy, everyone would do it. Tip number six is kind of baked in, but really just showing your communication skills. So don't be hopped up on 12 Red Bulls. Make sure that you're clearly expressing yourself and just really have a game plan of how you want to communicate what you've done. And communication means there's two people, so make sure this is a conversation. Ask them questions, ask them about the role. I think a lot of interviews go really sour and feel really terrible because you're the only one talking. It loosens up their interview, it makes it so you know the person better, and it gives you a really better gauge of like what they're going to be like working with them if you get chosen. And if you don't like the way they respond, maybe that's not where you want to be. In a lot of ways, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. Tip number seven is showing that you're always into continuous learning. These cloud providers are popping out services every 20 minutes, it feels like. So it's good to showcase like, hey, I'm working towards this cert, or I just learned this new service, or I just experimented with this new thing. It really just shows what culture you're going to be a part of, and it's important. Technology is moving at breakneck speed, and it's so easy to become a dinosaur. Tip number eight is really do the mock interviews before. So I haven't interviewed in a while, but I interview a lot of people, and I help just mentoring in general, and I do a lot of public speaking. So what I recommend is just really almost like not YouTube style, but really recording yourself and really going through the scenarios and thinking about the rebuttals that might be coming from the interviewer. What you find most of the time, and like no matter what you're preparing for, is that you over prepare, but it's a good thing because by the time you get to the actual thing, then it doesn't pale into comparison of what you thought it would be. Our imagination is worse than reality most of the time. Number nine, make sure you research the company. It's more of a reflection of you. If you're not even going to prepare for an interview, then why would you prepare for like a client meeting or a big meeting with our bosses? And I think people just underestimate research on the person because it makes it so you have like some olive branches that you can splice in there organically that makes it more of a human conversation. Like, hey man, I saw that you were speaking at the AWS DC Summit. What are you going to be speaking about there? And by the way, I don't know where you're going to see this, but I am going to be speaking at the AWS DC Summit in 2024, because I don't know when you're going to see this. This could be 2027 from now. Sorry, ADHD movement. But if you're out there, holler at me. Tip number 10 is to stay confident and calm. What I learned from my military service is it's a lot easier to get stuff done and people believe what you're actually saying. And how you do that is saying it with your chest. Know your material, prep, and say it with extreme confidence because you know this stuff. Do me a favor, subscribe and share this with a homie. Train, inspire, relate,